Hey, how's it going?
Hey, another gear review.
Yeah, so I'm Daniel.
And I'm Brendan, and we're from Gearhead Reviews.
And today we're going to be looking at the DJI Inspire 1 and the Phantom 4.
The DJI Inspire 1, we've gotten quite a few comments and likes from the professional world especially. It is a more professional drone, does a few more things than the Phantom 4.
The Phantom 4 is also a really solid rig. It's maybe slightly less professional, more amateur, but still there are a lot of professionals out there running with it, and it still can produce some really great stuff.
And honestly, they're for different purposes.
Yeah.
This is a more professional platform. It's designed for professionals, does a few more things. This is something you can get out of the box and fly it at your friend's birthday party. Still gets great footage.
It's pretty solid footage. I mean, it's not bad.
They both are great.
Yeah,
and we'll
they're
be talking about that, so stay tuned.
So let's look at some specifics between the Inspire 1 and the Phantom 4.
The Inspire 1 weighs in at 6.5 pounds with the battery and the gimbal.
The Phantom 4 weighs in right around 3 pounds, so it's just about half the weight.
The Inspire 1 has landing gear that raises up. The gimbal is detachable and has a wide, almost 360-degree view, and it tilts up and down a little more than the Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom 4 has vertical movement. The gimbal tilts up and down, straight down, and actually quite a bit past straight down. You can look up, but the only thing it doesn't have is side to side. It smooths out a fast turn, so it's still stabilized, but it doesn't have the 360 aerials and the dual operator that the Inspire 1 will have.
The SD card slot is found in the gimbal on the Inspire 1.
And on the Phantom 4, it's found in the side body. And why is this important?
Well, for me, I've turned this on, taken it up in the air, and yes, I've done it too. There's no SD card in the gimbal, so you're landing it. And oftentimes I have to power the drone all the way down because that's the only way to get the gimbal so that it's not being electrically stabilized. And then
as you're getting the card
and then
out.
you can take the card out. It's just a simple push, take it out. But on the Phantom, it seems like it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier because it's right on the side of the body. You don't have to power down or turn the gimbal off.
Yeah.
It just pulls out and it's right there.
Image quality, the Inspire is slightly better than the Phantom.
Yeah, a little. But the Phantom still has a pretty good edge. It's not bad. It's not bad.
They're both 4K. The clips that you're seeing are very comparable. I mean, you could use them.
But the Phantom really isn't bad either.
Yes, they're both great machines.
They're pretty similar.
The gear spread on the Inspire is another plus. It's a big plus. You have landing gear under each of the motors
instead of centralized in the middle. And that makes landing a lot more stable, especially under rough conditions or high wind. Because this, if you land it and then the wind could catch it, it's not all the way, it doesn't have the weight spread on the edges. It's more centralized, so it could tip over more easily.
Right.
So
have you ever tipped the Phantom over?
I have. I've done it twice.
I see.
So it's a little more risky, and now I often do a hand catch with the Phantom.
This can be dangerous. Do it at your own risk, but it can be done safely.
Yeah, the Phantom, it's a lot safer than the Inspire, though.
And speaking of hand catches, I have been in situations where we've been flying in environments where there's just no space to land, and you have to come back and hand catch.
Like on a boat.
Yeah, I was filming on a speedboat, and the thing about hand catching the Inspire is the vision positioning system here on the bottom. This camera will sense when the ground is close enough, it will lower the gear automatically, which means if it's coming in, the gear's up, you naturally want to grab it here. And the tendency is these arms can come down, and it's a potential risk of cutting yourself. In fact, one of my camera crew got a little nick, and we're glad it wasn't worse. But we learned our lesson on that. It's not good to catch the Inspire. So speaking of hand catching, crashing maybe, hopefully not, but the build quality, what do you think?
I've tested it out on the Phantom 4 unintentionally. I got the sticks mixed up, and I was forwards instead of backwards, and came too close to a tree, pushed it into the tree, and it fell about 90 feet onto concrete.
Ouch.
Yeah.
What?
And so it's got a little, it kind of bent this. We just popped it back together. It flies fine. It flies like a champ. I mean, it's a little beat up, but really it's pretty solid still.
Yeah.
I was incredibly impressed. We didn't have to send it in for service or anything.
Along the same lines, the Inspire is very durable. This is all carbon fiber here. Carbon fiber struts for the landing gear actuators. You see a lot of metal in this, a lot of heavy aluminum, heavy plastic. It's not cheap, it's not flimsy.
This plastic is pretty tough. It's not a cheap
It
plastic.
doesn't crack.
And it feels solid. It's not a toy. It's not cheap. It's a solid platform.
And even with the gear folding up on the Inspire, it doesn't feel. It feels very solid.
Yeah, there's no slop anywhere.
You see precautionary methods. There's a rubber boot there around that actuator worm gear. It's very well designed. I wouldn't recommend crashing either of them.
No.
But if you do, there are replacement parts too.
Yeah.
And it's not something I would worry myself about. You can get into those situations and be a little more comfortable.
So speaking of size, which one's bigger? Can you tell?
I don't know. Yeah. No, there's no question about it. The Inspire's bigger. Not as portable.
The Phantom, you take off the props, it's substantially smaller.
Yeah.
And let's just grab the cases.
Let's put these down here.
So this is the Phantom case.
This is the Inspire case. It is pretty heavy.
It is. It's a lot heavier. The Inspire 1 case that comes with it, both of these cases come with them. The Inspire is a much better build quality. It's a hard case.
I would like to speak to this. And DJI, if you're watching, these zippers, I'm not sure what they were thinking. They're cloth zippers in a plastic. I don't know what's with that. I would like to see a hard case with,
With
like
latches.
a Pelican or something.
Yeah, like a Pelican case.
It's a little weird. It's got like a cloth binder back here. So don't expect much, but it'll keep it safe. And I wouldn't sit on it. But.
Yeah, and the Phantom, it's a styrofoam case, but it's still pretty rugged. I've traveled to Europe with it. It's still pretty solid.
I tease him all the time about his cooler,
And it's just like a little piece of plastic holding this on, so it's not the best build quality.
Again, not great cases. You could buy better.
Yeah,
but
especially for the Phantom, I might recommend buying another case for it.
So that's that on cases.
One thing that I've noticed is that we've flown these together, we've flown them indoors. The Phantom is a lot more stable. The vision positioning system, it'll stay pretty much where you put it.
Yeah.
The Inspire 1, if you take it up indoors, it's a little more
pretty
hokey.
nerve-wracking to fly. I'll just say it honestly.
It moves around, it drifts a bit,
Yeah.
and so it's just a little. It's not as stable. The positioning systems aren't as refined as in the Phantom.
That's right. And what are these two things on the front here?
This is obstacle avoidance. It's really helpful.
Do I have that?
No.
Oh, what's this?
So the Phantom 4, it will keep itself from flying into a wall or a tree. I've had it stop me from flying in between tight spaces, and
nice.
It's helpful. It does not work in sport mode, but when you're for most shots, you'll be in P
Sport mode,
anyway.
just flying fast. You probably can't keep up with it.
And so it will stop. It does work well. You can fly into walls. It'll stop itself.
Cool. I've actually flown into a wall with my other Phantom, so it's actually a nice upgrade. I want to go fly them.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.